YouTube Nation, Manfit TV, aka Me TV, aka Vampire Hunter, these nuts companies, and I say that because we gotta kill a lot of bloodsuckers off today, and I mean the developers. But before I get started today, alright, I want to say thank you guys for watching the show. Thank you guys for sending me all the information that you did. Thank you guys for all the kind comments that you've sent me, alright, in the previous video, and all the private messages. I haven't read them all yet, so I will get to that, alright? But before I get started, I want to say today's show is brought to you by Fear Effect. That's right, because I'm letting you know now, even though companies have tried to spread fear between gamers, it's going right back to them. And after today, when I'm done with this video, the companies are going to fear the gamers. So let's get started today, because I told you guys that I had an update for you guys in the next gaming video about EA. Now, just a couple days ago, I did a video where EA said that, you know, they're going to spy on you, they can watch everything you're going to do, and then fans had a problem with that, all right? And then companies had a problem with it, because they look like they're trying to control the market with their own, you know, streaming service. Well, let's get into this because, or should I say digital service. Well, EA has come out and said that their games won't be Origin exclusive. So that means Steam will get games, you know, depending on their rules or regulations, and other places will be able to get EA games, all right? Now, I will say this. Regardless if it's an Origin exclusive or not, we just saw 2 weeks ago when I reported, all right, that EA, if you get it from Origins, you get a free game, all right? A specific game you will get free. If you don't get it from Origins, you still have to sign up for Origins to play online. So it doesn't matter if it's exclusive or not, you still have to abide by their rules, and they're going to sell your information to third-party companies. Seriously, and so it doesn't matter if it's exclusive or not. You still have to play by their rules, and like I said, no way should anybody fall for this. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care if EA makes the greatest game in the world. After knowing that they're going to take your personal information and sell it to third-party companies, I'm done. All right? That's it. It's over. As far as I'm concerned, they can kiss my ass. You don't ever have to worry about me buying an EA game ever again until you change that. All right? I don't care how many loopholes you try to come out with. But EA is saying, is saying that they're bringing back a couple of old franchises. All right? Just to let you know, the link is in the info bar. Executives are teasing for certain games. I don't care. I really don't care. After the news that they've given us in the previous 2 weeks, it doesn't matter what they bring out as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's come out with this with Sony, all right? Because Sony has come out. This is going to be funny, all right? It says, Sony drops the "it only does everything," you know, tagline for long live play. Yeah, so this is how I see it. Sony saw that, you know, gamers were getting mad because they kept taking things away and decided, hey, we got to get rid of the tagline. It's not going to work. It doesn't do everything anymore. So Sony has done that. Also, Sony has leaked documents to reveal how the Vita will connect to the PS3 network, all right? The link is in the info bar for you guys for that. Capcom. My God, I tried to go at least 1 week without talking about Capcom, but they just keep stepping in it. And we're going to talk about this because Capcom, for those who don't know, Street Fighter, Third Impact Online, this new one just came out? Yeah, they're charging you for additional colors. That's right, alternate colors for your character, they're charging you money for. But that's not all. I'm going to roll out the entire DLC strategy for you guys, what they're doing, all right? It says, the first DL pack will be a colors pack for $2.99, which is a simple pack that gives you 7 new colors for each of the game's fighters. Alright? The second and third will be match packs, which will feature loads of footage from competitive Street Fighter 3 tournaments, specifically the recent Fight for the Future event. Each of these will pack in over an hour of footage and include commentary as well. The price has yet to be announced. Okay? And now the last one. The final pack will offer character music. Yes, character music from the other versions of Street Fighter 3. Expect these to be rolled out in the coming weeks and months. So, Capcom, you are charging gamers, all right? Let's say gamers who had this stuff, what, a decade ago almost? All right, you're charging them stuff that they had for a game from a decade old. This is a joke, all right? And there's no way that you can sit here and do this. I mean, seriously, people don't support this. If you support this, it just empowers them. But that's not the only thing that Capcom has done. No. Capcom has come out and says they're not looking to merge with Japanese developers. And I'll explain, all right? It says, Capcom must increase sales in the consumer online game business outside of Japan, all right? So they're focusing on the Western market. It says where the market for these games is larger and there is much more growth potential in order to maintain growth. That's what it says. It says, acquisitions and partnerships are one of the important strategies for increasing our market shares overseas. We aggressively seek the opportunities of acquisitions and partnerships for the purposes of creating game content with universal market appeal and acquiring technologies and know-how required for our single content multiple use strategy. Understand that, guys. Now it says, however, a merger with a large Japanese game or toy manufacturer is not being considered as a serious option since it would not make a significant contribution to growth in our overseas sales. Furthermore, this type of merger also poses a risk of limiting our activities involving the licensing of game content. Now guys, understand this. We just talked about this not too long ago where we talked, was it last year, where game companies are going too far. They're trying to copy the Western developers in the markets instead of staying true to themselves. Kojima came out not too long ago and said, look, Japanese gaming has to get back to its core. We have to focus on us before we can focus on anything else. So for Capcom to say something like this, it's a joke. It really is. It's ridiculous. I mean, there's no way. Look, Capcom, if you care about your Japanese roots or gaming, you know what I mean? Because that's exactly, I'll put it like this, because that's where Monster Hunter lives, all right? That's where they live. I'll put it like this. You have to merge with some of these companies. For you to sit here and deny your, pretty much your, how can I put this in sports terms, your home team, your home fan base, for you to deny them, that's a joke. You don't care anymore. All right? And I put it like this. Whoever's making these moves, whoever is, seriously, the shareholders should either, you know what, Fire Emblem's not good enough. Fire Emblem's not good enough. Someone go give these motherfuckers some swords and let them commit. You know what I'm talking about. Let them go commit. This is horrible, all right? Death before dishonor. And that's what you're doing in your own country and especially in your own gaming circuit. This is a joke, all right? But they're not the only ones to fuck things up. Now, Bethesda comes out and says that bugs aren't a bad thing in their games. Yeah. It's not a bad thing in their games. They go on to say how some glitches, you know, that are fun will actually stay. Now, I don't have a problem with that, but they're sitting here saying that, you know, game-breaking glitches will be fixed. Now, for anyone who's played Fallout or any Oblivion, you know, even though they've done updates, there's still game-breaking glitches in their games that they haven't picked up on. This is them pretty much downplaying the problems. And you know what? As a developer, that's not a good thing. That's just not a good thing. No way, all right? Bethesda, seriously, clean your act up. As of late, we've seen a lot of these problems, these little arrogant statements from Bethesda, and it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. Now, I will say this, all right? Take-Two, that's right, Interactive, is being sued for treating testers badly. So for all you guys who like to, you know, watch the tester and all this type of stuff, yeah, get ready for this. Now listen, it says, the suit is being put together by former temporary employee Aaron Martinez and his legal team. It says, alleging that quality assurance, QA, or testers, workers at Visual Concepts were, during his time there, not paid for all their hours worked. They weren't paid for all their hours worked. It says he also claims that they weren't given break periods for rests or meals. You understand it? They weren't given break periods, and at the time of termination, hadn't been paid all their wages owing. Now look, I have to say something about this, all right? Because this is horrible, all right? Now you wonder why 2K11, yeah, why it was fucked up. You wonder why when 2K12 comes out, it's going to be fucked up. You cannot treat people this way, all right? It goes to show you that when something's wrong, we've always said, you know, lazy developers, or you probably ask yourself when you play a game, how the fuck did testers miss that? This is how. This is how they miss the big bugs. Because when you're giving these guys, you're just running them into the ground. They're tired. They miss things. It hurts work morale. You have to understand that, guys. All right? Then you wonder why you see all these day one patches. Now you wonder why. See, this doesn't work. And I'm telling you now, developers, if you don't clean your act up, gamers will take over this industry. All right, and we've seen a lot of gamers that like say, well, gamers need to make more games. You know, they need to stop making their opinion and make, you know, saying their opinion and just make more games and act on it. And I've shown you in a couple of weeks, you know, previous couple of weeks, it has happened. Well, now gamer turned developer Idealsoft has come out with a Mass Effect beat 'em up game called Dark Corners of the Galaxy. Let's check out the gameplay for that. that bad. As far as I'm concerned, it embodies that old school side-scrolling feel. I mean, hey, why not give it a chance? And for those who do want to give it a chance, the link is in the info bar where you can contact Idealsoft and try out the game. Okay, guys? Now, let's move on because I do have some Mass Effect 3 news for you. Now, guys, I'm letting you know now, if you're looking forward to Mass Effect 3, please, by all means, fast forward this part because this is a spoiler. All right? You ready? Here we go. Commander Shepard will be leaving after Mass Effect 3. Alright? Got a link in the info bar for you guys. Now let's move on because you guys have been asking me about Persona. Alright? We got some Persona news today. Alright? Because Atlas has announced Persona 4 for the Vita, Persona 4, a fighting game, and teases Persona 5, which you've probably already seen in the title. Now, let's get into this because it says Persona 4, the Golden for the Vita, will have a new character named Mary. It will have 1.5 times the voice of the PS2 version. Wireless support for calling on others to help you when you're about to die in a dungeon. Other elements that fans of the original have heavily requested. New opening anime song, anime and new song from Meguro, and new animation moves. It is set to release in spring of 2012. Now, let's get in this real fast because Persona 4, this fighting game, alright? What you need to know is that this game is teamed up with Arc System Works for a 2D fighter. So you know who this is, alright? This is Arc's Blaze Blue, alright? That's who they're teaming up with for this fighting series. So you should know what it's going to look like. You should know the quality. Also, it's going to hit arcades in 2012, then for the PS3 and Xbox 360 in summer of 2012. Now, before I even give you any more news, for those who have not seen the screenshot that we have yet for that fighting game, check this out. Now, even though it is a single screenshot, I will say the level of detail is there already. As you can see, you already know what these developers bring to the table. So it does look promising. Now, Persona 5, let's move on real quick. It says, basic preparations for the game's development have been completed. It says, with the usual staff members in place. That includes Hoshino as director, Sojima as character designer, and Meguro as the main composer. Persona fans, you're getting back your original staff. You should be happy. It's coming soon. Apparently, I'll have more information on that once it releases. Now, I have more news for you guys. Ace Combat, for those who are thinking about getting this game, aircraft lineup has been revealed. There's a link in the info bar, tells you so far all the planes that are in it. All right. Tekken Tag 2 hits Japanese arcades next month. That's right, so y'all can get ready for that too. Radiant Silvergun. Now guys, I have to say this. Radiant Silvergun comes to Xbox in September 14th. For those who have never played Radiant Silvergun, I played it a long time ago when it first hit Japan. I played it on, the Sega Saturn with the Japanese import. It's an amazing tabletop shooter game. It does have 2-player co-op, alright? It is one of the hardest, I'll put it that, hardest tabletop shooter games I've ever seen, or ever played, I should say. And it is a great game. It has a hardcore fan base. This game has been out for so long, and to see it come back the way it has, it's amazing. It goes to show you that you do not need millions and millions of dollars to make a great game. You just don't. I mean, seriously, you don't need millions of dollars to give the gamer, I should say, a great experience. And because I'm saying this, the team over at Extra Credits is here today to talk to you guys about their charity work to push gaming to the next level, to see how we can change the industry and how publishing works with developers as well that affects you, the gamer. Let's check that out real quick.
Hey there guys, say hello to Andrew Gregoire, who's going to be helping us out this week. He runs a webcomic called I Am Arg. There's a link down there, you should check it out. We got a lot to cover today, so let's get right to it. The outpouring of support from the Extra Credits community ever since Allison's shoulder injury has been overwhelming. Seriously, we cannot express our gratitude and appreciation enough. At the time of writing, we have raised $100,000 to help Allison. That isn't just beyond our expectations, that is an order of magnitude beyond our wildest hopes. In fact, I have to confess, it's something we weren't really prepared for. Now, many of you have had some great questions for us regarding the fundraiser, which we tried to answer over Facebook and Twitter, but you all deserve a full-fledged response, so here it goes. First, the bonus episode you donators get access to. Allison's expressed a desire to make the bonus episode herself once she's recovered, and I think that's a cool idea. It's literally the episode you guys paid to make possible. This puts it down the road a little while, but I think that's worth it. As far as the rest of the rewards go, assuming you put valid information in when you signed up for Rocket Hub, we should have all of your info now that the fundraiser's officially ended. So the t-shirts and such should be getting sent out shortly. If you wanted to protect your privacy and didn't use your real information, just send us an email at our usual address, extracredits@gmail.com, with the title, Wrong Rocket Hub Information in all caps. Tell us the information you gave and we'll get it sorted out. Also, we're working to figure out how to do international shipping on the shirts. It looks like it should work out, but if for any reason we can't do it, we promise we'll figure out something else equally awesome for you guys. So, on to the big question. You guys handed us $100,000? That carries an immense responsibility. Even with the cost of additional surgeries, physical therapy, taxes, the percentage Rocket Hub takes out, the cost of printing and shipping thousands of shirts, it looks like we'll definitely have money left over. And we felt an incredible obligation to find the right use for it. We've spent many weeks thinking this over, trying to make sure we do the right thing with the funds provided. Something that's fun for everybody, but also might do some good. After thinking it over a while, we asked ourselves, alright, what was this fundraiser really about? This fundraiser was about allowing someone to continue to do the work they love and ensuring that they were never cut off from their passion. Once Allison is well, we'd like to use any excess money to pay that forward and help create jobs that allow others to build their dreams, and in doing so, maybe change the industry for the better. Basically, we would like to create a fund to publish quality games. Until I can come up with a better official name for it, let's just call it the EC Indie Fund. We won't be starting with big AAA titles or multi-million-dollar projects, obviously. But if, after all the expenses, we end up with around $50,000 left over to work with, James believes we can start funding some independent developers that are small enough to take risks and to deliver experiences that might really have an impact on the medium as a whole. James, Allison, and I will contribute our expertise and our connections to help ensure that the money spent goes as far as possible and has the best possible chance of making a difference. And we won't be taking any cut out of this either. If the initial published titles are successful, all profits earned will go back into the fund to help kickstart additional games. Of course, planning and sorting out all the logistics of this sort of project has led us to take a close look at how publishing generally works in the industry today, and ways we might do it better. In doing so, we came up with 4 very clear issues with publishing today that we think harm developers, harm fans, and in the end harm the publishers themselves. Maybe we're wrong, but I think games as a whole would do a lot better if these practices were dropped, and we've got the unique opportunity here to actually give it a shot. Here we go. First, there's the issue of IP ownership. In almost every publishing deal I've seen involving a small or independent game studio, the publisher has tried to own all the intellectual property behind a game. This means that the studio would have to ask the publisher if they wanted to make a sequel, a spin-off, a TV show, or a novel out of the world they created. Often, they'll even have to pay a fee for the privilege, and that's just not right. When you think about it, it's really pretty extortionist to demand that somebody hand over the rights to their creation in exchange for the tools to make that idea a reality. It just leads to bad blood, and honestly, it's one of the main reasons we see franchises handed off to second-tier studios and driven into the ground. We believe a better working relationship between game publishers and developers benefits everybody involved, and it's really hard to establish a good relationship with the person who forced you to give up the rights to your own creation. Now, to be fair, a studio with a good lawyer can sometimes dodge giving up their intellectual property, but even in these cases, it's often used by the publisher as a big stick at the bargaining table to extract other concessions. So that's the first thing we are going to fix. IP rights are off the table from the get-go. The developer keeps their IP. The only time where we'll ever ask for it is in the event that the developer simply fails to finish their game, in which case we'll hand it to another developer so they can finish it. We want to ensure that all the hard-earned money you guys put in isn't just wasted. Second, let's talk about multiple game deals. James regularly hears small developers tell him excitedly about how they just landed a multi-game deal with a publisher, and it just breaks his heart. Multi-game deals are actually a trap. At first, it sounds like an altruistic offer to publish your next several games, but they are not. They're actually an agreement that basically says, hey, if your first game's wildly successful, we have the rights to publish your next one under the same terrible terms. And these deals are always at the option of the publisher, too. So if they decide they don't want to publish your next game, even with a multi-game deal, they can drop you like a rock. Multi-game deals just lead to corner-cutting and poor follow-up products that often doom fledgling developers. Suffice it to say, we are not doing any multi-game deals. If a developer works with us twice in a row, it should be because they want to, not because they're contractually obligated. Third, profits will be fairly split. Almost all game contracts come down to wrangling over how the revenue to the game's going to be split, with both the developer and the publisher trying to work each other over for as much as they can possibly get. From the very beginning, it sets up a relationship of suspicion rather than trust. It creates an us versus them mentality on both sides, rather than a feeling of partnership. Moreover, this often results in one side burning the other for short-term gains rather than working together to establish long-running franchises, which are more beneficial to both parties in the end. So we intend to do a 50-50 split with our developers on the net profits of any game we publish. The developer keeps half, and the other half goes right back into the publishing fund where it can be used to start future projects. This sets out a clear and equitable partnership from the very beginning. We assume the risk by putting up the money, they put in the labor and the time to build the game. Now, that'll also mean that we'll probably expect our developers to be more efficient than those working for a 20-80 split of American box product sales or what have you. We are here to work with developers who love what they do and have a game they are burning to make. We're not going to have a lot of patience for someone who tries to take advantage of that trust. Finally, let's talk about transparency. At the end of the day, this is you guys' fund, so you will know everything. Our successes and our failures. We will try to engage in open and honest dialogue with everybody. There will be no carefully crafted spin, no marketing people with memorized bullet points talking to reporters. All communication will come directly from us or the developers themselves. We won't censor anything, we won't hold anything back. Even if a product is falling apart or a developer doesn't like working with us, you will know. And when things aren't going smoothly, we'll turn to you and ask for your patience, rather than just continuing to toe the party line and keeping you guys in the dark. Now, that's not to say we won't advertise the game, but we'll do it with the honesty and sincerity befitting the trust you've placed in us. We do see this as a community, and even though we have every intention of running this like a proper business, we don't see you guys as a community we have to lie to. Better games sell better, and no amount of hype will change that. In the end, for all the minutiae of how publishing works, and for all the different practices that different companies use, one thing remains universally true. Publishing is about the relationship between the developer, the publisher, and the consumer. Trying to cheat one another all the time, or squeezing out the last possible dollar just isn't worth it. It undercuts the one thing that separates a successful developer-publisher relationship from many of the horror stories you hear about. And we believe that trying to hide the truth from the consumer is honestly just far more trouble than it's worth. It may take us a year to find the right game to start with. We aren't going to make any hasty moves or jeopardize any of the funds you guys have raised. Since we don't need to make money off this, we're under no pressure for time. But we do now have a chance, thanks to all of you guys, to do something potentially great. So we do need to find the right title to launch with, and the right people to stand behind to put money toward their dreams. With time, dedication, and a little luck, we'll be able to keep many people employed doing what they love. With time, dedication, and luck, we'll be able to change the industry just a little bit and create a space where games are measured on their merit rather than on their marketability. And if we are very, very lucky, we may even be able to expand who gets to make games. If any of you want to help further support this endeavor, the Rocket Hub link is below, with new prizes and rewards befitting this new journey. Thank you all again. None of this would be possible without you guys. Thanks for letting us get that bit of business out of the way. We will see you next week.
I want to thank the Extra Credits team for making that video and trying to spread awareness of what they're trying to do in the gaming community and in the industry. I fully support them for what they're doing, and there wasn't a major link that you can contact them with, so I couldn't put that in the info bar. So what I did was I put the original link of that video in the info bar, so if any of you guys have any questions or just want to support them or have any ideas you want to run by them, by all means go through that link and try to contact them directly. Okay, now we have some more news for you guys because Yakuza 5 and Black Panther 2 has been announced, so you can expect those games more than likely to be localized. All right, One Piece, that's right. Now look, I'll stop right now. All right, we've seen this time and time again. We've seen Dynasty Warriors Gundam, we've seen Fist of North Star get a Dynasty Warriors type game. Just a couple months ago I showed you guys Saint Seiya's getting a Dynasty Warriors game. Well, One Piece is now getting one called Pirate Warriors. All right, so any One Piece fans out there, by all means, rejoice. Now, I will say this, SNK is coming out, and they are re-releasing World Heroes and Shock Troopers on the PSN. Alright, guys, also, future Dragon Age games will be like Origins, alright? Just to let you guys know, that's how they will be made now on, which is not very much, that doesn't say much for me. Versus, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the movie Versus, the overseas movie, with the zombies and the fighting and all that. Yeah, well, Versus is getting ready to get a game. Alright, yes, a fighting game from what I've seen. It's like a God of War type, Ninja Gaiden type game. So, we don't know what to expect yet. I will be keeping up on this to see where this is going, but it's finally getting released. Apparently, they had the concept for a very long time when the movie was supposed to come out, but now it's just getting a game. Alright, anyways, Battlefield 3 news. They say that single player is only 6 hours long. Just to let you know, single player campaign, 6 hours long. And developers are saying, and this is what they say, and I quote, "We'd rather 6 hours of awesome than 12 hours of meh." That's what they're saying. Personally, it just sounds like they're downplaying to me again. It just sounds like empty promises, but we will find out once the game comes out. Okay, guys? Now, also, in other updates, Gran Turismo 5 gets a 1.11 update. It is packed to the gills with DLC. Alright, guys? Free. Free. That's how you do things. Free. And there's a link in the info bar who wants to know the details about things as well. Alright, speaking of free, alright? This is going to really excite me. Free-to-play games coming again, once again. Star Trek Online has gone free-to-play. So all you Star Trek fans who used to play the game and stopped, yeah, now free-to-play. You don't have to worry about that. And DC Universe, that's right. No, it didn't go free-to-play, but the DLC that just came out, the so-called expansion for the Green Lantern rings and stuff, that went free. Now, mind you, this was also charged at one point, or they were going to price it at $9.99, right? And then the fans complained and said, no, because it's not worth the quality. You're not getting enough. I've been saying this for how long? You're not getting enough with the game. So now Sony, SOE, has decided to make it free to play. And they're saying that this is their way of thanking the loyal fans. No, this is their way of apologizing for all the bugs and all the glitches and all the problems that they've come up with. They have no choice because loyal people are now starting to leave the game because of the server merge. Because for those who don't know, the server merge happened and there's been multiple complaints about people not being able to get into the game yet because they're sitting in a queue. And a longer queue than what before when I showed you guys before on the beta. Even longer than that, alright? And then when they get into the game, as soon as they get in the game, it freezes. So then they gotta restart their game and go back into the queue. And people are leaving now. So this is their way of trying to say, we're sorry. I'll put it like this, SOE, if you want to say sorry to the fans, fix the problems. That's what you should do. This is only a matter of time for this goes free to play, guys. I'm just saying. Anyways, put this down. I'm done for the day. Guys, understand you were seeing right before you. Gamers are stepping up and they're changing the industry as a whole. If developers or publishers don't want to comply, they'll get left out. They'll get cut out of the equation completely. Understand that it's the gamers that make this work. It's all up on us. It's all up to us. It really is. No matter if you support a game or you try to make a game, it starts with us and it will end with us all the time. Now guys, I'm getting ready to go, but I want to say this next trailer that's coming up, alright, set you up for this, plays exactly like Heavy Rain for what I'm reading in details. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, you guys were complaining about not having a new Dino Crisis. And no, you're not getting a Dino Crisis before anyone gets happy, but you're getting something close to that. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all then. Y'all be safe. Y'all have a good weekend. We start up next week again. I'm out.
This isn't a Dilophosaur bite, and none of the other dinosaurs are poisonous.
I knew they'd gotten out somehow, but I never thought...
Knew about this? You knew?